welcome to a brand new episode of Talks with Dorks podcast. This is episode 4. Dork Girls Are from Venus. And we're joined today by a very special guest, Danielle's Games. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
How's it going?
Yeah, good, thank you.
We've made it. You're finally here.
No, we did.
This is the trouble with like having real life, isn't it? You know, like, yeah, we want to do fun stuff like record a podcast and make content and all the rest of it, but we got kids, we got family. Ish happens all the time.
Yep, real jobs.
Real life.
Yeah. No one likes real life.
No. I'd much rather be sat in some sort of like little room just filled with games, PlayStation games, Game Boy games, you know. Oh, that's exactly where you are. That's nice.
Yeah, I do wish I could just stay in there every day.
Well, tell us a bit about that. Come on. Look at the size of that massive collection you've got. What's going on there? How did all this start for you?
Oh my god. I've always had like a gaming collection. A lot of it. I say a lot of it. I want to say maybe 10% of this room was mine when I was a child. And it was actually just the brink of lockdown that made me go a bit more mental. I think it did it to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm the only person that decided to like pick it back up. But obviously back then it was a lot easier to collect things than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I do look back, it's probably only the last 6 or 7 years that I would say, I use this term loosely, but religiously collecting. So like always on the hunt for things. And then it became more of like a hobby, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always loved gaming, but...
So like when you're saying there's a bit of what's in your room is from your childhood, do you mean like not like throwback collecting, like this is stuff you've actually had physically, like you've had that copy of these games since you was a kid?
Yeah, and I was like not as careful as I am now as an adult, so the beaten stuff, and it really does stick out. You can really tell what is actually mine from a child. It's covered in gems, stickers, scratches, cracks in cases. Like I have a lot of broken stuff that I've not thrown away, but I'm more careful now as an adult.
Second time lucky. Should we try that again? Shall I? Jesus. Just as I come back, I've just texted Woody, who's thankfully here producing for us, saying, I'm here, don't worry. He put the camera on and my door opened with Jacob. Are you recording yet?
Oh.
Hi, Danielle. Welcome to the podcast. I've been listening. Yeah, bit of gaming. Please carry on. I'll get settled in and carry on the conversation. I'll relax. Tony, take charge.
Hey, Ryan.
Hello. I forgot where I was.
So no, you was talking about the stuff you've had since childhood that is now banged up, scratched up, covered in gems and bedazzled and vajazzled and what have you. So what is that, like PS1 games?
Yeah, so my first ever console was a PS1. The later stuff that I have, I say later, earlier. I definitely mean earlier. I collected as I was older. So although I had access to stuff like that, like my brother had an N64 when we was younger and I used to play that, it was never mine. My first console was a PS1 and it is brown and beaten. But I have multiple PS1s now. So although I have that one, I won't play that one. I'll play the nicer looking ones, if that makes sense.
But like me, you won't lose them. I've tried to keep hold of every console. Like that's my original Nintendo NES. Still works, but that's a replacement Sega Mega Drive because I do not know what happened to my original one.
Yeah, I do have a few things that I don't know what happened to them, and was quite reckless with them as I was growing up. But a lot of the stuff I have managed to keep. And
I suppose when you're a teenager, though, you don't think I'm going to keep this forever because you just enjoying getting them at the time. It's when you get to an adult age, you're like, no, to be honest, I wish I still had that stuff.
Yeah. I think it's like toys as well, because I don't just collect games. I like have a little bit of new love for toys that I used to have, and trying to find them again now, one, very hard, but two, like if you actually go back to when you were younger, you wouldn't have thought, oh, I'll keep this one day because one, it might be worth some money, or two, I might want it again. You just think, nah. Because I remember a time when they had like bargain bins. We had a shop called Ross Records near us, and it was like 40p for a PS1 game. And these were like not just FIFAs, these were good games. You would never see that these days because nobody thought it would ever be valuable.
But I think you're right. A lot of that
going to.
Go on, sorry, you're on.
Sorry, I was just going to say that it's because the people back then, when they were doing them bargain bins, were going around buying all them games in bulk and then opening shops and selling them at extortionate prices, and that's what you see on the high street now.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
find
issue.
it really hard to believe that even stuff from that era is still sealed. I keep a lot of stuff sealed now. Like sometimes I'll buy like a PS5 game and I will keep it sealed. I'll buy 2 copies, keep one sealed and then one open one, because in my head it's so cool. And it's only ever happened to me a couple of times where I've actually found like a sealed GameCube game or a sealed PS1 game, but the collector and me just won't open it.
Would you say, you know, you were saying about lockdown was a big kickoff for like growing the collection.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think a lot of people done that. I definitely done the same. I started buying odd toys and trinkets and all sorts from childhood. That must have been a part of the price hikes we see now. Is just, you know, supply and demand. People started wanting it more and more.
Yeah.
Like lockdown, I bought a set of tiny terrapins. You know, do you remember from Kinder Eggs? These tiny little ceramic little terrapin things.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought a set of them, and it was for like £8 or £9 for the full set, and now averagely they go for like 40-50 quid for the full set now.
Yeah, I think in the last couple of years prices have really spiked, like more than I've ever seen. I've had quite a lot of bargains, I'm not going to lie. So a massive assumption is that people think that because I have this room, I've got a lot of money. I definitely don't. I'm just.
I thought you did when you said you buy 2 copies of PS5 games. I was like, wow, she's rich.
Definitely not. I think, and it hasn't happened in a long time. I used to buy like massive bundles from like Facebook Marketplace. That used to be a massive place for me, and I would keep what I need and then sell on what I don't need, and then the stuff that I need would be free. Or even sometimes I might make a little bit of money, so then I have the stuff and I have money and I've sold the other stuff. So the math was mathing, but that hasn't happened for a very, very long time.
So I've got a bit of a question for you on the money front. Now, this might be personal. You might not want to answer. You might not want to answer because of the damn truth of it. But do you have a rough figure on how much you've spent on creating your museum?
I don't want to.
No, yeah.
But the thing is, I look at it like I could sell all of this tomorrow and probably make my money back. So in my head, it is an investment.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be too bad if I did know, but it's hard to say. It's probably less than 20 grand, but more than 10.
Okay. And do you have a rough like valuation of like what you could be sitting on? You know, as we said, things have spiked. You've got some real good bargains. You've had some freebies as well. But if all of this was to go for full price, like, I mean, could you be putting down a mortgage like, with what you could sell?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I think maybe because there has been like a couple of times where even I've been really, really surprised. In the process of making all of this, I had to fish out a lot of it from my garage. And this is me going back to saying reckless teenager. I had a copy of Tomba 2 on PS1, and I'm not even joking you. One, the disc was not even in the case. It was like flung in like a box. Manual disappeared. Case crashed, cracked even. That game is like £280. Didn't even know.
Wow.
And it's just sat in my garage. Obviously it's in here now being taken care of.
Yeah.
But at the time it was literally rotting in my garage. And I've got quite a few games like that I have no idea why they're so expensive. I would never pay for them now, but luckily I've got them from when I was little. Pokemon XD on GameCube. It's like £300. Why?
I think it was a Batman and Robin Mega Drive game in CEX.
Mm.
I think, Tony, was it in the group I sent? It might have been in the group I sent it, or it might have been just to Ash. But I walked past and it was something like 280 quid for this game. I was like, I don't even remember this game on the Mega Drive. I loved the TV show,
Yeah.
but I do not remember this game. Why is it so expensive for that game that I, as a Mega Drive owner and loved all the games, didn't know about?
Mm.
But I suppose maybe it's because it's rarer because it didn't sell as well.
I think that is it, where they didn't make as many because they probably at the time weren't popular games, and now there's not as many of them. They go for hundreds, and some collectors do like really thrive off stuff like that. I personally wouldn't buy stuff like that now. I'm just lucky, I guess, that some of these like massive hitter games I already did own.
Yeah, yeah. When you started with your PS1, did you get the PS1 like when it first came out, or was it like towards the end of its life? Because I want to know what kind of era of games you started with on the PS1.
So that was the first console I owned. So I'm 28.
Right, okay.
But the first game that I ever did play, it was on the PC. I was like 5, but that was the first console I ever owned. And I can't remember how old I was, but I got it for Christmas, and it must have just been going out because the PS2 probably came out a couple of years later.
Okay, so did you get into like the PlayStation era of like my favorite game on PS1 has always been Abe's Odyssey. Did you ever go through that one on the PS1, or did you come to that later and try it?
What was that? It kind of cut out.
So, my favorite game on the PS1 of all the games, Resident Evil's up there, but Abe's Odyssey is the game that I always go back to. Hopefully, have you know that one? But did you play that one? Was you around for that era, or did you discover that one later on when you started getting more into the collecting?
No, I had that as a child, yeah, because they had a number 2, didn't they? I think I've got right.
Abe's Exodus. Yes.
Yeah, no, I had
nothing more entertaining than a little green alien that farts.
It's
Simple
actually on the
things.
PS5 right now.
It's on what, sorry?
It's on the PS5. You can play it on the
I see that. I saw someone streaming it the other day, and I was like, ooh. I might have to go back to that one, revisit it. It's stressful, but it's fun.
Do you know how many games you've got?
Wow.
Yeah. So about 3 years ago, although I appear really unorganised, so all of these games, so this is just the corner, they're not alphabetically organised.
I was going to ask that next.
No, none of them are.
Okay.
And I always say, if anyone wants to come and do that for me, they are more than welcome, but that is not going to be me. About a couple of years ago, a friend introduced me to an app on the phone where if it's a game that has a barcode on the back, you can scan it and it logs it into your app, and it tells you how much it's worth and logs it so that you've got it. To date, the last time I checked, it was like 4,200 something.
Wow. And have you played every single one, even for, like a few minutes?
No.
Hey!
No, I would be for years. I'd be rotten. Yeah, for years if I did that. I've probably only played about 25% of this room.
I mean, that's still 1,000 games.
Yeah.
That's a lot of games. You don't game, do you, Tony?
Don't even say 5% then. Maybe 15.
Wow.
You don't do online gaming, do you, Tony? So, I don't know about you, Daniel, but for me, at the moment, the only time I really get is for online gaming, like just a couple of hours. I'm assuming you probably have more because it's part of what you do, but like online gaming is like, but especially since lockdown, online gaming is just the battle royale way thing is just the easiest way to game at the moment. It's just, let's go do that because everyone's doing it, and we just play a couple of hours straight out, and they fly by.
Yeah.
So trying to play 1,000 games.
The time that I was biggest into online gaming was like the Xbox 360 era.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
That's that. Like I do sometimes, but I'm not like into Fortnite or anything like that. Like I do play quite a few games on the PS5, but they're mainly like solo games. But I'm I wish the servers were still available for like Black Ops 1. That was my favourite time of like online
They
games.
are.
They're
I've literally.
so bugged. You can't
Oh
really.
yeah. I found literally. I think it was just before Christmas, or I think it was just before actually the Black Ops 6 come out.
Mm.
So I saw someone streaming on TikTok. They were playing Black Ops 1. I was like,
Oh
I
really?
need to do this in my life. I need somebody. And I went on, and it weren't as bad as I thought it was
Oh
going to be.
really?
I had some great times. I was in firing range just
Oh
with
that
my old classes because I literally got my old game out, had all my classes, everything still the same. I was living my best life.
you were living your best life. I used to
Absolutely.
smash zombies on Black Ops 1. That was my ultimate favourite. That was like the best era on the Xbox 360 for like online gaming, in my opinion. It was great.
So I was massively into Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare
Yeah,
2 was where I started with CODs, yeah.
yeah,
So I got there from 2 and fell in love with it. But obviously then Black Ops became, for some reason, it just became, I don't know about you, but it became the one that every time they brought a new one out, I still went back to Black Ops 1
yeah.
more than anything else.
I liked Black Ops 2 for a minute, but I always went back to Black Ops 1. But I
Yeah.
mainly went on there for the zombies. That was amazing. You're making me want to play it now. That was class.
So, listen, I've got the disc down here.
Yeah.
I'm always up late gaming. I'll get on some Black Ops. I'm down for it.
So you just touched on this, and I want to make a point of this because Ryan, you're saying about online gaming. It's it's quick and easy, fun and all that. I found online gaming when I was online gaming like hella stressful compared to just pick up and play
Yeah.
simple games. Like yeah, obviously I'm into my retro stuff, but the gaming side of things, just being able to like stick a disc in, stick a cartridge in, pick up, play, bish bash bosh, like that is my idea of gaming. It's not stressful, it's not overly complicated. Sometimes there's only like 4 buttons to press. I'm down for that kind of shit.
It's simple. We like simple.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, there was something a lot more enjoyable for me. I can't be wrong. Sorry, I can't be right in this because billions of people do online gaming every day. But yeah, just simple pleasures for me.
I think that's what the difference is now. Like, because, like I say, with online gaming, like, I love a game with a story. Like I said, Resident Evil, I've completed every single one because I could tell you them stories. The Arkham games, was going hours on them, but because I think more becoming a dad, my time for gaming is limited. I don't have 5 hours just to sit and play a story. Do you know, like when you want to get a game and just plow, I'm going to set this whole day up and I'm going to get through this story and do. I don't have that because being a parent happens. So I jump on the online because it's there just to jump in. But it is stressful, very stressful.
I think the only thing that I can't really get on board with is why do you have to buy a game, put it in, and it install for hours?
Mm-hmm.
You can't just put it in and play it. You have to sit there and it does an update and then it does the installation period and then you're just like, and by that time I'm really impatient. I'm over it. I would rather come down here because the PS5 is in my bedroom.
And then in a couple of weeks, you got to download more content as well because they've added more stuff to it because the games are never finished when they come out.
Yeah, I'm not down for that. I would rather just put it in and be done with it.
Mega Drive for life.
Yeah. As much as like the graphics and stuff are phenomenal, there is just something about obviously the retro stuff. I just feel like you can't beat it.
What's your most up-to-date gaming setup then?
What, like the newest console? Yeah, the PS5 and the Switch. I do love the Switch. I can't say a bad word about the Switch.
Yeah, again, it's got that pick up and play capability, just those fun little games. Yeah, I'm about it. My daughter's got a Switch and I've probably spent more hours on it than she has, to be fair.
Yeah, but it's so funny because I love the Switch probably for the wrong reasons. Like, it's great, don't get me wrong, but I like it because you can get NES games on there. You can get Game Boy games on there. That's I like it.
Mate, one of my favourite games on Xbox was the Sega Mega Collection. And again, all I'm doing is playing a Mega Drive on an Xbox then.
Oh, Altered Beast. I love that game.
Golden Axe.
Golden Axe, yeah. Streets of Rage. I'm going to get the Mega Drive out and set it up tonight. I know I am. I've got games I've bought in the last few months that I haven't actually played on it because I just haven't set it up for a while. But like I've got the Tasmanian Devil games. Either if you've ever played that one.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
one.
That is, it's hard, but it's addictive, and I bought it because I hadn't played it since I was a proper kid, and it was like I want to go through that stress again. I bought the Batman '89 game, and my mate, when I sent a picture to my mate, first thing he said was, "Do you remember how much anger that game is? Because it's impossible to complete." I was like, "Yeah," and I'm ready for a bit of that.
None of these hold a candle to Lion King though.
No, oh my
Lion
God,
King's
no.
good. The Lion King's
Legendary.
good. Disney games in the 90s were top. I've got Toy Story. I might have Lion King and Aladdin. Aladdin. Mate, them games. Them Disney
I feel like
games.
they're always so hard. Do you not think? Like have you ever played any of the Mickey Mouse ones? Why are they the hardest games? No.
They are.
They're no joke.
Is it Fantasia?
No, that was the film, the trippy hippie film. I think
Didn't they do? I thought they did a game as well.
there was a Disney game that I think I've got a castle in my head, like it's a proper like gothic castle that Mickey's running through.
Castle of Illusion.
That's the one.
That's the one. That's the one I'm thinking of. But when it I thought it was based off of Fantasia.
I'm not too sure. Also, I know
I can't remember.
Pretty hard.
Castle. I can imagine it. Wasn't it him and him and Donald Duck on the cover? Is that the same one?
Yeah, I feel like it was. Yeah.
Or was that part 2?
No, I've got a
picture. I can picture it where they're running away on the front.
Yeah.
Danielle's just got it in arm's reach. There you go.
Yeah, she's literally got. Yeah, if there's an alphabetical order, it'd be a lot easier to reach.
Well, oh, sorry, Dan. Go on.
Oh, yeah, I was just looking, but I was going to say if they were in alphabetical order, it would be easier to know if I did have it. I know I do, so it's hard.
I've got a mate, Paul. Give him a quick shout out. He's a physical media collection, not so much games. It's DVDs and CDs is his thing. He's got just like you've got walls and walls of the stuff, and his is all alphabetical order, and he's got thousands as well. Shout out to Paul. Maybe if he's got a weekend free, he can just come and I think he'll enjoy it. Just come and sort out your room.
Yeah, he needs to come round here and he can do all of these.
Someone that loves gaming and has got OCD, perfect for Danielle's alphabetical sorting.
I like the first part, but I'm actually quite messy with stuff like that. A lot of time, don't want to show because the floor is bad, but I'll play something and then I won't put it away. And I've got a really, really horrible story about this, and I did talk about this on my TikTok. Do you know much about Castlevania?
Yes.
I know the name.
Yeah.
One of the most, and this is just so typical, one of the most expensive games on PS1 to this day is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And me just being me, bear in mind I only did this about 2 years ago as well, so I've done this as an adult. I left it out on the floor, and then I've come in here like a bull in a china shop, and my foot has gone into the disc. Now,
you just felt that value crack under your foot, didn't you?
There were tears.
Yeah.
But
I can imagine.
I've framed it, so it's in a little frame and it's a little grave on the wall, and you can see the crack through the disc. But then everyone, I've got like a little gaming community on TikTok, bless their hearts. They all came together and they bought me a new copy.
Oh.
Which is really, really sweet of them. But it was my misfortune and me just being an imbecile, just walking through it thinking, kick that out the way. Just casually kick like a £500 game out the way.
Tom, we've got to do something better here because I'm learning the wrestling content creators we've become friends with. They've got a community that will love them. Danielle's got people buying things for him. You've been asking people to buy you a Megazord on this podcast for at least 6 months. We've not had one person offer. We've even had a guy that sells toys come on here, your mate, and he didn't even offer to get you one.
No, he just told me where to go to get one.
Yeah, yeah, he did as well. He literally it was like Tony was dropping the best hints ever. I had to edit this episode. It's where he's like, yeah, like if you ever come across a magazine, I've always wanted to be proper going for it, proper
Yeah.
selling the dream. And this guy, Shannon, was like, do you know what? I can point you in the right direction of where to buy one. You can see like Tony was like, I'm gonna have to buy it myself. Guys, I'm really sorry. Joys of what's going on in my life right now. My stepson needs his teeth brushed, and obviously can't do that. So without me, I'm going to have to step away for 2 secs. Carry on your conversation. I will listen. I'm so sorry. I am
A
professional.
good 2 minutes.
It's fine.
So look, you just opened about your TikTok situation. Amazing community to have there. That someone's got like band of people going to come together and sort you out and hook you up on that. How did the socials come about? Was you already like posting across TikTok and what have you, and then you thought, oh, let me show some games, or did you go, this is worthy of showing people?
So when lockdown first happened, I actually asked my brother. I'm really, really close with my brother, and he is a massive part of why I love gaming so much. I asked him to start a TikTok with me, and he said no.
Oh.
He grow up. He was like, grow up, get a life. And I said, fine, I'll do it by myself. And back then, it's so funny because of how different it actually looks. Because I think doing TikTok actually motivated me to make this room better. And I had, in real life, I have no one to share this with.
Oh.
All right, I know.
I just walked back in the worst time, right? The heartbreaking moment.
I know. But I genuinely don't. I don't have anyone to share the excitement with. Like, oh my god, you'll never guess what I picked up at the car boot today. Like, no one cares in my real life. So all of a sudden I started posting on TikTok, and I was like, oh my god, I've made some friends. And then I was like really cocky to my brother. I was like, I've got mates now. I don't even need you. So I went on to do it, and that was my first account because I actually got banned. To begin with, yeah. But I didn't actually do anything wrong. I posted. I don't know if you're familiar with a game called Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, that would do it on TikTok. Yeah.
That'll do it. I only showed a small clip of it anyway, banned for life. So I had to make a new one and start over again. But in that time, I was in the process of like doing it up. So it kind of like just went off, and I got connected to a lot of like American creators, which is so interesting to see how different like gaming is over there in comparison to here. So great. And yeah, we just like made some friends and got some great mutuals going on over there. But that's kind of like how it started. I just asked my brother, he said no. So I was like, oh, I'll just do it myself then.
So how did people in your real life react? So you're saying like no one cares or whatever, but like surely like your girlfriends and your mates and that, and families must at least, like, even if they're not into all this, they must see the collection and go, don't care, that's pretty impressive. And like aesthetically it's a lovely looking room. Like the amount of times I'll scroll through your stuff and just be like, I don't know, I want to just sit in your room and just have a look around. Like, surely like they must find it impressive.
There was actually a time where I didn't tell anybody. It was like a secret alter ego. They always knew that like I loved playing games, but they didn't know to the extent of what I was really doing when I was on furlough.
Right.
In lockdown. So then obviously it got bigger. So this is the downstairs spare room of my house. So you would never ever know this is here. It's almost like an annex. So you wouldn't know it was here if you were just a guest, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so I did very well for a very long time. But then as I started posting a lot more, I kind of had not come clean, but it was something that to begin with I was a bit embarrassed about.
I know about that.
Yeah, like, I think it's difficult because I think like especially in the beginning, one, I received quite a lot of like trolls and stuff online. Like I think it was difficult for people to wrap their head around that, like maybe a female was doing that to a room, if that makes sense, and which is so bizarre now because there are so many like amazing female gamers and creators out there, but and it's trolls. But I think because of all of that, I was a bit like, oh, I shan't say anything about what I'm really doing. But now they're like mega supportive, and they've actually like I've made them do videos with me and play stuff with me, so it's a lot better now.
Yeah, I feel like I saw on at least like 2 videos of you out and about with some mates, and you go to like I think it might be one of your favorite game shops, and you drag them in there and show them around and what have you.
Yeah, I did do that. We was on
Yeah.
like a weekend, and before I would never say anything. I would just be like fighting demons inside, walking past a game shop, going, "Oh my god, I can't go in." But now I could be like, "We're going in, and you will all come with me." So it's a lot. It's nicer now.
With
I
with your massive collection, then there's the same like what do you get? What do you get a girl who's got everything? That's got everything, right? Do people just like assume that I'm going to get you games and get you toys now, and if they do and you double up, do you say anything?
I feel like so the only person who would really do that is my brother, who is on point with Christmas presents and birthday presents. I don't know how he knows everything I have, but he does. He is on point with the presents. A lot of personalised stuff, which is really nice. I'm really big into 3D printed things as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But there has been a few times where like I've got 3 copies of Starwing, but I just can't get rid of them now because they were presents.
Starwing. Wow. That's a throwback.
It's quite a popular game, so I think if someone didn't know, it's hard for them to think, oh, I bet she doesn't have that when it's a very, very common game.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. Very niche game for. Was it Super Nintendo? Was that N64?
Super Nintendo.
It was Super Nintendo. I thought so, as far back as that as well. So yeah, wow. Such a like niche game. Very
Yeah.
niche game to
But
have.
now because they'll always think of me, and my favourite sentence to hear is, "I've been having a clear out and I found ... Would you like?" And I'm like, "Yes,
Yes.
I will take it." And that is my favourite sentence of all time because they always think of me when they're having clear outs or if they know someone who's throwing something away. So now, something I used to be embarrassed about, I now shout because I'm like, if you ever find anything in your garage, please give it to me.
Honestly, I can like hearing what you're saying. It's like even when you said to have a female like that, I went through it thinking. Obviously, during the 90s, I had a big battle in my head of trying to admit that I was into Star Trek, Power Rangers. I was told at 10 years old by my friend, you've got to stop watching Power Rangers. You've got to get into football. And I did. I tried. And by
Yeah.
38 years old, I still don't know a thing about football. I can sit for a game. I can understand the but I don't. I tried my best, but got denied it. And I used to hide things. I never used to tell people I was into Star Trek. It was a secret thing. And this was before you had internet communities and stuff like that. And even in 2018, I would have been 32. I was battling with people I'd worked with online because I'd gone to America and I'd run into Rob Van Dam. I ran into Rob Van Dam and they were like picking on me, like trying to be funny, like, oh, who cares? It's just fake fighting and all that. And I lost a battle in my head and then like woke up to like 300 comments from friends and that just jumped on like, why are you being like? Because people trying to deny that you're into this stuff. And as I've said how many times, Tony, have you heard me say this? We're all geek. Every single person in the world is geeky for something different. Even if you're a football fan, you're a geek for football. If you're into gaming, you're into Power Rangers, you're into anything. Whatever you're into means you're a geek for that. So, like, we shouldn't have to deny it. Shouldn't have to hide it. And listening to you say that, it's like it's. I know that journey because, like you say, when people start reacting and want to see what you've got. It's so cool, isn't it? Because like I've got a Power Ranger at my mum's house, my Power Ranger collection. God knows how much that is worth. Tone, what do you reckon? You've seen it in person finally.
Yeah, I mean,
Take a rough guess.
it should have been about 200 quid less after I left.
But yeah. I counted everything before he left. Before he walked out my door, I was just checking around, looking straight at the Megazord, making sure that's not missing. But it's worth a few factors. And like anyone that wants to see that now, back in the day, I wouldn't have told anybody.
Yeah.
And even then, that was stuff because I sold all my Power Rangers, all the original stuff I had in the 90s. I sold everything because I had to be cool and get into football. sold it all, but I've got most of what I had back and some. So it's just
Yeah.
embracing that in a person of who you are, who you are.
At least you
And
got
I
to
think
sell yours.
oh yeah,
I
sorry,
think
Tony.
Yeah.
it is hard to do that though, isn't it? I think it's hard sometimes in your head, like. But I think what really got me is I turned around one day and I was like, who actually gets to determine what's cool and what's not?
Right.
Surely if it's cool to you, it's cool. Like no one can say that games aren't cool, or because I don't like football, but for someone who else, like I think that's a good example. For someone who does like it, I would never be like, oh, that's really embarrassing. You love football so much, because there's a person who gets to decide that sense.
I've been called I've been called gay many a times because you like men in little shorts because you like wrestling. You like men in. I know I make the joke now. I'm clearly got a thing for men in spandex. I like Power Rangers, Batman, Superman, and wrestling. I must have a thing for men in spandex. I'll make that joke. But like I'm being called gay, but by someone that loves watching 22 men run around in little shorts chasing a ball, and I'm the gay one. Okay.
I think my biggest comment is people telling me to grow up, but I don't want to.
Yeah, why?
Why?
What's the fun in that?
Grow up.
Yeah.
Genuinely, name me one person who could be like, I love being an adult. I
Yeah,
absolutely
it's the best part of life.
I love having no time for myself. I love it. No one can say that quite comfortably. I don't believe anyway. I would do anything.
We are a new breed, though, aren't we? We're a new breed of adults. Like our parents and our grandparents, aunts, uncles, and that would never be recording a podcast about dorky stuff and having a room full of games, loving Power Rangers, loving wrestling. They all went to work and like paid bills and had discussed politics and whatever else. Like we're a new breed of adults, aren't we?
Yeah.
Adults.
Only politics I want to know is DC or Marvel. Danielle, please answer this correctly.
Is there any right answer?
Yes. Yes. Good answer. See, I'll always fight DC's corner, but I cannot argue with anyone. When people come to me, go, "Oh, Marvel's better," I'm like, Marvel's great. I just prefer DC. I can't help that. Same thing.
Well, if we're putting Danielle on the spot, let's still talk a quick bit of wrestling then.
Oh.
So, Danielle, who is your favourite wrestler and why is it Billy Gunn?
Oh, here we go. How many belts you got signed, Tone?
I've got two things signed by Billy Gunn. One's a sealed figure of his from Attitude Era, and the other is a Twix.
A Twix?
Yeah.
What's that? A year of doing this podcast, and that's the first time you tell me you've got a Billy Gunn signed Twix.
I've got an Al Snow signed Twix as well.
Is it? Please tell me it's one. You've got a signature on each bar.
No, it's on the wrapper.
finger?
Like, he's not signing the actual chocolate. That'd be
No,
madness, wouldn't it?
but I mean, like, yeah, I know, but what I mean is you've got their signature over each one.
Oh, no, two separate Twixes. Okay,
that's a valuable pair of Twixes.
I had a iPod signed by Mick Foley as well.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't think it through. I got to the event and I was like, I've got naffle for him to sign. So I just like gave him my iPod. I was like, you sign that?
You're saying you had. Does that mean you don't have it anymore?
Well, no, because one, this is why I didn't think it through. I was like, well, I did think it through. I was like, oh, permanent marker, that's going to stay on. No, it's just like galvanized steel. It just like rubbed straight off as soon as I put it in my pocket. So by the time
How much did the signature cost?
I think it was about a tenner.
Oh, he's quite cheap. I was looking earlier at him at For the Love of Wrestling this weekend. He's 40 quid for a signature.
Oh, mate, this was 2003 or 2002.
Ron Simmons is 95. So, yeah, but so he would have been even bigger then. I suppose autographs were cheaper then because people weren't hogging them like that at the airports
exactly,
like they do now.
Yeah. It was a really off-key event. It was, do you know what, I can't remember the promotion at all, but there was him and Sandman tagging against two British guys. I cannot remember the event at all. I just remember, going for Mick Foley. That was the only reason I bought a ticket.
It sounds like an FWA event, surely.
It wasn't FWA, no. No, it was like proper off-key. Like, literally the only people I can remember, and I knew at the time, were Foley, and I heard of Sandman. That was it. Everyone else was a stranger to me. Like, it was really undercard stuff with Mick Foley.
So did Danielle actually answer who her favourite wrestler was?
No.
The Undertaker. The
Nice.
Undertaker has my heart. There's within arm's reach. That's me and the Undertaker.
Ah, look at that.
Nice. Is that the One Dead Man show?
Oh yes.
Nice,
Oh
nice. I've just got into podcast. Like, it's my current listen in the car.
Genuinely phenomenal. Like I thought I knew everything there was about the Undertaker.
You don't know nothing. You know nothing until you hear this podcast.
How much more can I be in love with this man? It was the weekend of Money in the Bank, and it was like a combo ticket. So you got the SmackDown before, the Money in the Bank tickets, and the Undertaker One Dead Man show. It was like the VIP for it as well. It was honestly, it's hard to put into words what that weekend like toured every childhood trauma of mine ever. Because one, I got to meet him, and you know, like when you meet someone that is like your hero, what can you say? Hi.
Yeah.
Like I walked up to him and I had nothing to say, but oh my god, your hands, they're so big. I don't even think I said hello. I just approached him and I was like, "You've got massive hands." His hand was like that on mine. Like I can't even over exaggerate how I'm 5'2". He's 7 foot. He is so tall, and I had nothing to say, and I was like shaking in the queue like this. It was like the best day ever. So like meeting him before the show, like I needed a glass of wine afterwards to compose, and then I was second to front row for the Dead Man show, but they made you put your phones in the little pocket thing so you couldn't record at all, which was actually nice because there wasn't a phone in the room and you were just locked, and the stories he was telling, it was like, and you can really tell that although he's probably done that show a lot, the level of enthusiasm that he talked with, it's like coming from the heart. It was honestly,
he's not been able to talk about it, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about it. Like
phenomenal.
I fell in love with his podcast because of the Mark Henry clip, where Mark Henry, it's just a clip from the podcast where Mark Henry talks about how he was going to kill the Click or something like that. Whatever he says, but he says it so blazing, and Undertaker just goes like that. And I've never seen that man lose it like that. I've seen him try it. I've never. So I was like, I need to listen to this podcast. And honestly, I'm up to I've just listened to the Donald Trump episode, which is weird.
Yeah.
The Undertaker and Donald Trump having a conversation. This is exactly what I was waiting for. I absolutely love it. I'm in for Matt and his flip flops on there. I love Matt, his co-host. I think he's brilliant. So yeah, I'm all for the Undertaker and the podcast. But
Stone Cold podcasts are really, really good as well.
Does he still do them?
Yes.
I felt like
the network isn't a thing anymore, is it? So everything that I used to watch on that, I have no idea where I can watch it anymore.
Oh, so his Broken Skull he done before the network even. It was a few years before the network came out. He was just doing like a normal podcast, just audio only.
Oh.
And
they're on Spotify, so you've got some more content to listen to.
Yeah.
You've not listened to it.
You can listen historically, but I feel like there was I don't know, I think when the network came around, he stopped doing that, and there was only like highlight shows and recaps of what he'd done before. And some of them were great. Like he'd start the episode sober, and you'd just be like drinking wine and cracking cans the whole way through.
Him and Undertaker.
Undertaker, he was just drinking whiskey, and then by the time like I would finish, he'd like literally polish like 3/4 of a bottle of whiskey.
They both slur in their words. It was just brilliant to see.
Because the stories are getting a bit more like wild.
There's a episode, Ryan, that if you've heard it, where it's a bit like that episode of Breaking Bad where he's just talking about a fly for a full hour. There was a fly buzzing around in his room, and he was just typical like Stone Cold, like, oh, this son of a bitch ruining my gimmick here and da. And then by the end of it, like he was like proper pissed up, and he was talking about like putting it in a full Nelson, and like he was going to feed it to Nessie and all sorts of like crazy nonsense. You just hear the deterioration throughout. So on wrestling, Danielle, how long have you been a fan?
I've watched it since I was a kid. I don't remember a time where I didn't. We used to wrestle as kids.
Mm-hmm.
Unprofessionally, obviously. I made it out like I was a professional wrestler then. Me and my brother wrestle each other all the time. Still do, to be honest, when it comes to like Christmas games and stuff. Someone pulls out a Monopoly board, I'll literally throw him for a table. But
Is your brother an older brother?
Yeah, there's 18 months, but he's 18 months older than me.
So like you must have had your fair share of kick-ins then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But so did he, so it's fine.
Now you know how to throw hands.
You started with the Attitude Era then. You would have been born around the Attitude Era and grew up.
Yeah, just after. So I think one of the first. Oh, what was that? What was the SummerSlam that was in the UK?
92.
92. I remember watching that as a kid as a rerun because my dad had it on DVD. I can't remember. It just used to be every weekend. We used to get a takeaway every single weekend and it would be wrestling weekend.
So is it a family thing, like you saying your dad had the DVD, so like he's a fan as well and passed this on to you?
Yeah, he was a massive fan. He doesn't watch it anymore. But I feel like that's the way, like a lot of people who watched it back then, if they haven't watched it for a long time, I can understand why it would be harder to get back into now unless you've watched it consistently. But
especially for those PG years, man. Some of that was really bad.
I didn't watch it.
You didn't?
In and out, but to be honest, I was doing wrestling, so I was like, I'm enjoying this more than what they're doing. I watched because I was such an Attitude Era fan, and even though now I wouldn't want it to go back to as bloody and gory as it kind of got to at a point, because I like watching wrestling, I like the storylines, but it's better now. The PG was just too
much
childish for me, because it was complete opposite of what I'd just come from, and because I was doing it with my friends, we were going out and talking in the holiday camps and that we were going out and doing it and having fun. So I had my wrestling fix out on the outside by being around the British wrestling scene. Have you ever been into the British wrestling scene yourself, or just WWE?
Mainly just WWE. I tried to give AEW a chance. I can't get into it. I really can't. I've been to a few indie shows locally to me, but other than that, I'm
okay. Tony, do you reckon the conversation? Are you thinking probably the same conversation I'm thinking? Because obviously there's something to do with wrestling that we've got.
Mate, it's all that's ever on my mind is Billy Gunn's white tights were so much better than his pink one. Is that no, not okay. Billy Gunn with short hair was just as good as Billy Gunn with long. No, not that one.
It's not about Billy Gunn. It's not about Billy Gunn.
Is it that Billy Gunn? It's not about Billy Gunn at all.
It's not about Billy Gunn. Will you stop going on about Billy Gunn? Right, I've got a picture of him up there. You've got a Twix signed by him. I've got my belt signed. That's enough Billy Gunn. Danielle does not need to hear about Billy Gunn and every aspect of his life, but she might want to hear about something we have to do with wrestling, Tony.
I mean, he did have the best theme tunes as well. Like apart from like Triple H, like he had a collection of really good entrance themes. Not counting Rockabilly, obviously.
To be fair,
but, I mean, the one saxophone blaring. Come on, there needs to be more sax in wrestling. Oh, but no, we've got something going on. Yeah, we've Talks for Dorks. We're a podcast, and we're branching out. Yeah, and we thought it was a really good idea that we put our collective 4 brain cells together, even though there's 5 of us. Exactly. Yeah.
Who's the person who's lacking it then?
And that's not me putting my ones up for Roman. That's just me with no brain cell.
We've decided to put on a wrestling show.
Have you?
In May 31st, we are holding a wrestling show, and this is going to be something different. There's not loads we can say at the minute because there's still some announcement.
Wait, because I was thinking about this. Okay. Right, we've got episode. By the time this comes out, I believe the people we're waiting for will have done it. So we'll make sure that's happened by then. We can say it now. We can say it as much as we need to. The people we have involved, you can mention.
Cool.
Go for it.
So we've got 2 special.
The Rock.
Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah. That means he would have to acknowledge you by now then.
He hasn't acknowledged me. So my thing on TikTok at the moment, 2 things is me. I'm doing one of them trying to get The Rock to acknowledge me by doing a video. It's meant to be every day. I do it every week at this point. Of doing videos trying to get him to acknowledge me. And the other one is my stepson is just getting into wrestling because we're doing this event. Obviously, I want him to be right into it. He's now got right into it. He's now becoming a little TikTok star because of wrestling. So, yeah, I wish The Rock would acknowledge me, but we haven't got him at the show. Maybe, if we ask nicely.
Never say never.
Well, never say
die.
Never say die.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Danielle. That is a segue to the name of our show, Never Say Die.
Never say die.
Oh.
So we've got two people booked for the event who are kind of a tag team, never been a tag team, but are going to be a tag team. So we've got AJ Slambino, TikTok fame, Goonie Dad, also TikTok and social media fame, the pair of them. They're content creators from each side of the pond. AJ Slambino is American, talks a lot about British food and British culture, so he's got a massive following over here. We've got Goonie Dad, who's based in the UK, and for his love of the Goonie movie, he's got a massive US following. And they've become friends, best friends, called Pond Bros, and they are choosing our show to debut as a tag team.
That's exciting.
It is. And
have you heard of them? Do you know these guys? AJ Slambino. And it's Paul Johnson Naylor.
But I feel like
I guarantee you, at least AJ, you would have seen.
Yeah.
Because amount of people I've shown. Paul, the same thing. People know who Paul is, but because Paul's, I think, if I'm right, he's followed more in America, but obviously has a following over here. But whereas AJ's major following is more here, so that's why they work quite well together. But I guarantee if we were to show you, I do know them. I've seen them on TikTok. AJ's been since just after lockdown. He said, wasn't it, that he's been a TikTok star because of British food. He was eating like beans on toast and stuff like that.
So yeah, we've got these guys who are going to be a part of our show. We've got a card filling up full of independent British wrestlers. There's a guy called Super Relic. He's making his return.
Listen, slow down. Right. That might not be happening. That part we're not sure about yet. That's me, by the way, Danielle. People are talking because I'm involved, and every time I've promoted a show in the past in the same town, I've always been on the show, obviously. But I have been retired technically for 7 years, and I went for a run the other day for 5 minutes and nearly passed out. So I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe if the right person calls me. Pardon?
It's got till May though.
Yeah, I know. And I had from like November really, and I've been every week plan to get in shape, and I go, yep. After that run, it scared me a little bit, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, if the right person was to turn up, if there was someone that I couldn't resist fighting, then yeah, maybe. But I'm going to be there. We're all going to be there. Tony, carry on before you start trying to set me up for matches.
So yeah, the difference with this show to other independent wrestling shows is we're leaning on kind of what we do, and that is content creation and social media. So, you know, really cool aspect is having 2 social media megastars as our main event. And what we want to do is get as many content creators on board as possible, get them involved in the show somehow, not necessarily wrestling, and just being a part of this to help grow a community of dorks, of wrestling fans and content creators all together. And, you know, throwing a bone out there. You're a wrestling fan, you're a content creator, you're now, you know, one of the dorks because you're on the podcast. If you ever feel like you want to be a part of this, please do. I'd love you to come on board and, you know, come to the show and, you know, just do your thing and, yeah, just celebrate us trying to make a go of it.
I would be a part of that. That sounds great.
Okay, so we need you to referee, announce. No, but yeah. So what Tony's saying is that it started with such an idea because me and Tony was on an episode with AJ Slambino, and he was talking about how he's dying to come wrestle over here.
Yeah.
And me being me, like, because I did be wrestling, I was like, you know, I can reach out to a few people I know. Someone's going to book you because there's money behind you. You have hundreds of thousands of followers. Their 300-400 people shows will sell out just for your fans. And then we got off of it, and my brain went, what are you doing? Why are you trying to give other people money? Why don't you and your little team of podcast friends, everyone who loves a bit of wrestling, everyone that's always probably had their own federation in their head because they played with wrestling toys, why don't we do it? And
Yeah.
we do it, and it's gone from that. And so,
Oh no, that's lovely. And I feel like it's a really good opportunity to like bring people together as well, like people who might
yes,
know other people, which is lovely.
we,
I think
and
that's-
we've been talking about you because obviously we had you plan to come on the podcast, and we was like, Danielle loves wrestling. Why don't you come and get involved? Obviously, once we're not recording, we can give you a bit more detail of things that are happening, but we can also, there's things, jobs like if you wanted to referee, there is an ID you could referee. If you wanted to do a bit of commentating, or just come be at the show and do some content. Come be there. That's what other people are doing. We've got other content creators like, I don't know if you know JE Wrestle Talk,
yeah,
Stally.
think so.
They're really close friends. We've got Parky Streams and Max's Wrestling Channel. So they're 4 guys already who are quite over with wrestling fans. They're going to be involved, and then yourself if you come in. And Tony, who's the other guy you've been talking to?
Money Benjamin.
How's that going?
So he's Money Benjamin is a massive wrestling social content creator. He's also an ex-wrestler who, even before we put this idea together, he started retraining and getting back into the ring. Reached out to him, and now he's interested in taking part. He's just kind of not sure whether he's going to be ring ready. He's not going to go half-assed with wrestling. He's either going to be ready or he's not. So we're pushing. Well, he's pushing to get ring ready, and if not, he's going to be on board in some form of social media capacity with us. And yeah, again, just a really good hand to have on board. He's got a massive following. His content is great. And Daniel, you'd probably be interested in what he does actually, because he does a lot of wrestling content, but also his other side is gaming.
Yeah.
Retro gaming at that as well. He loves a bit of Final Fantasy.
Oh, love that.
Okay, so I feel like we've got Danielle on board. We can go into the details properly, but obviously, hopefully, like you're seeing the idea. It's about content. Like we want to build the show, we want to promote the show, we want to build the storylines via everyone's content and social media. Because that's the way of the world now. So when we get to the show, hopefully, people that are there will tell a story that people come there that don't have any idea what's going on, obviously, but will also, a lot of people come there with the idea and build up what we're going into, so we can do one show, then lead into another show and become a community, like you said, of people that love wrestling and all this dorky kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I feel that that's a really, really nice thing to have. That's something that always made it more enjoyable for me. I've always loved all of this stuff anyway, but to be able to enjoy it with other people, talk to it about other people. And I feel like where wrestling is always so current, there's always wrestling news. Like, the thing is with stuff like this, like, it's great, but there's no new news about old games, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling is current. There's always something going on, and to be able to like share that and speak to other people about that, it's really nice. That's something I'd never had before until TikTok, and then having it afterwards, it was like, I've got friends.
Yeah, who needs real friends who come around your house?
Yeah, you don't need, but honestly, virtual friendships that I've created through it is amazing. And I feel like if you guys are able to create that in the UK, it's great.
Yeah, and we want you to be a part of it, obviously. So welcome to the world of British wrestling.
Oh, I love that.
We'll give you more details and stuff like that. Tony, we are coming. Believe it, I didn't even realise that, but we are coming up to an hour.
I know. Sorry, I thought.
No, don't you apologise. We're having to keep mindful because we're a nightmare for going over. We always said we're going to do an hour and end up doing loads more, but we don't want to always keep people's time and stuff. But Tony, obviously, is there anything else we need to go through with Danielle? Because I feel well unorganised today and I don't know what we're doing.
No, do you know what? I feel like there's room for more here. So like, not necessarily tonight, but if you're going to be part of the Never Say Die, and if you're going to be a part of a community that we can help build together, then we've got plenty to chat about in the future. They're set up for a part 2.
Yeah, why not?
And you know how it all works
That's
now.
if you enjoyed.
You've got Riverside. You know how to turn your phone around properly, and
There
happy
we go.
days.
See, even more friends to add to your collection.
There we go.
Before we wrap up, we always want to make sure that obviously people that will be coming from your side of things will know where to find you, but we might have some of our guys that want to now discover you. Where can they find you, Danielle? What can they search up?
I should know this off by heart, but it's because I was banned. Because I was banned, it had to change. Originally, it was Danielle Games, but now it's Danielle's Games.
That's what I've got. Yeah.
I was going to say it's not changed since I've seen it. I'm sure it was just Danielle's Games, but yeah, got it.
No, I should know. Is that on? It's not called Twitter anymore, is it? It's X,
It's Twitter.
Instagram, TikTok. I'm trying to get better with YouTube.
They should have just called it Twix. It would have been a combination of both.
Not the Twix.
Tony would have made some money. He'd have had it signed by Elon Musk. Tony.
Before you go anywhere.
No, of course.
Is the chocolate in the Twix or was it a wrapper?
Yeah, no, it's the Twixes are still in the wrappers. Yeah.
What's the date on it?
The Al Snow one was like, I think that went out of date in 2014.
Oh.
The Billy Gunn one is now like, it's because it got packed in a box. It's now like more like, it feels like one bar and it's completely flat. It's got no ridges on it at all. It's just smushed flat.
Imagine eating that.
Pete, we're going to do a video next time Danielle's on. Tony, you've got to eat one of them chocolates. That's a challenge. And I'll give you back your I'll give you back your pack of buttons. I couldn't say that. I'll give you back your pack of buttons that I've not eaten yet.
Yeah. Forget about the signatures. Just eat the Twix.
Keep the wrappers.
Do you know what? I'll eat it. Do you know what? I'll even eat the wrapper if someone buys me a Megazord.
Oh.
I will sauce you one. Just to see the wrapper and the chocolate.
Oh, this is happening.
I did eat a banana with a skin on for £1 once. That's the same thing, right?
For £1?
I've had a stick of lip balm for €50.
50?
No, 50. Yeah, there was a guy that ran a lot of the bars in Malia that used to get entertained because I was a rep and I would do anything for a bit of money, extra bit of cash. It was lip balm once, it was a fag once for 50. He'd always just give me €50. So I'm like, €50, I'll eat a fag.
Oh.
£1.
Pardon?
That's better than £1 for a banana skin.
Yeah, to be fair, Tone, I'm a businessman over here. If I'm eating stuff that's not okay, you're all right with the Megazord, but then you dip down. Like if you're willing to do it for £1, mate, just do it for £1. I'll give you £1 and your buttons.
God, is this really going to be a thing? Oh, do I want to make
This is
Megazord
definitely
that
going to be a
bad?
thing.
I'll eat the Al Snow one. Oh, I'm not eating the Billy one.
No, keep the wrapper. Obviously, keep the silly chip. Do what you can to make sure you
get tweezers and open it really carefully.
Yeah.
And then eat
You're probably going to have to because it'll probably evaporate in your hands. I just definitely got to see this happen. I've got to see this happen.
See, and this is what I was on about us being a new breed of adults. There's no way our parents can be like, oh, you're going to eat a 9-year-old Twix for a Megazord.
Listen, I've always been called Peter Pan. Unfortunately, I look more like the Robin Williams version these days, but I'm Peter Pan and I'm up for fun. Let's make Tony eat a Twix that's 10 years old.
You will eat the Twix. This is why we're doing an episode 2, because you're going to eat the Twix.
Yeah.
Next time on Talks for Dorks.
Let's do it at the rest of the show. We can do it at the rest of the show. Yes. Let's make it a fit. That's content. When we're all in person, that's what we're doing. I love it.
Yes.
Woody's producing this now, and he's like, yeah. He's
I've
definitely
got kids and everything.
Yeah. Cool. They're going to be well proud of Dad.
You're eating the Twix.
Right. Let's wrap this up, and we'll start making some plans. Tony, give us your socials.
Tony of Bingus the 90s on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, and
Twix,
and not on Twix or X or Twitter or any of that, and somewhat on YouTube. Like Danielle, trying to get better at that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm the DJ Ryan S on everything. I'm even on Twix as the DJ Ryan Ryan S. YouTube, that is mainly for us at Talk Dork Podcast on all of our social medias. Don't forget, treefroggrading.com. If you want to get your cards graded, go to treefroggrading.com, put in the code TWD15 and you get 15% off. It's pretty cool. So if you want your cards, I still need to get mine done, actually. I'm Ryan. That's Tony. That has been our very special guest, Danielle. Guys, as I always do, I'll say goodbye in my way. See you later.
You yogurt chewers.